it's not just about finding a place to play in college. It's about finding the right place to play in college. Let's dig into it.
You cannot feel this energy.
Everybody that is trying to get to college and players that are in college using the transfer portal. Now, you guys are in college using the transfer portal. You know this lesson better than the seniors trying to get to college. It's not just about finding a place to play in college. It's about finding the right place to play in college. Now, here's what that means and here's what that doesn't mean. What it doesn't mean is trying to find the highest level you can possibly play at. I want to be D1, or I got to play for a top 10 team, or whatever that case may be. What it really means is you got to find the right fit. The right fit. Now, obviously you got to make the grades, and you got to be in a town that you want to live in, and you got to go to a college that you where your degree is, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the program fit, the culture of the program, what it means to be a Longhorn, what it means to be a Razorback, how these programs go about their business. You can't fake that. Either you fit in the culture or you don't fit in the culture. I pulled a segment of a podcast that I did with Coach Bryan Henry, who is a All-American. He was a Division I coach. He's got his own program now. And he and I talked a great deal about the importance of that culture and how guys fit into that culture, because every year, guys get released in the fall because they don't quite fit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to that podcast. I'm going to take you to that segment of that podcast where Coach Henry and I discuss that. And I want you to stay tuned to the end, because I'm going to dive down a little bit deeper on the nuts and bolts of how this can apply to you. Now, make sure that you like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that YouTube will notify you every time we post a video. Now, let me get you to that podcast with Coach Bryan Henry.
First year here last year, I had to sit two guys down at Christmas break that were on full scholarships and tell them that they didn't make the team. So there were guys that were not necessarily a better player, but a better fit for what we were trying to do. And so, I mean, and that'll be the case every year.
So you had two guys, scholarship guys, that just didn't fit what you're trying to do, your vision for the program. So they weren't an Eagle.
Right.
All right. So let's dig into that a little bit. How important is culture when you're in a program like this?
Huge.
Okay.
There's no, and I tell them this too. For me, I mean, I don't want you guys to view me as up here and you guys down here. We're all in this together. And if somebody isn't in it for the right reasons, then it's going to pull everybody down. And, one of the things that Coach Shoup always would say to every team we had is, and it's something that I continue to tell these guys is, whoever said, if you're not with us, you're against us. He's like, that's the dumbest person ever. He goes, for me, it's either you're either with us or you're gone.
Yeah.
And that's the culture, and that's what, we want. And we're trying to instill routines on these guys, and the guys that want to learn routines and learn that, they'll do it. And the guys who don't will weed themselves out.
Okay, so what I'm hearing within the culture, it's a process-driven culture.
Absolutely.
To be here, you need to be coming early and getting on the floor with everybody else and doing your hip mobility and your shoulder stabos and all that, and going to your indie drills. And that's all before practice even starts.
Right.
And then post-practice, you'll probably have, fig in the cage for post-practice hitting and things like that. So there's a process to be an Eagle. There's a process that you need to buy into.
Right. And that process isn't just roll the balls out and hope we're good that day. That process is we're going to work for everything that we attain. Nothing's going to be given to us. And, we know the conference we're in, and if we aren't prepared, we're going to get embarrassed. And that's the last thing that I want to do. And we want to do as a program is get embarrassed out on the field. So you have that thought process and that mindset. And again, if you have the mindset of I'm trying to go to Florida State, you're not coming in 5 minutes before practice and leaving right after practice. If you want to go to Florida State like every other kid in the country does, you're going to be out here grinding.
Yeah, exactly. Because you get 5 years to play for, and here it's really a year at a time. Really, it's a year at a time. Sometimes it's almost a semester at a time for some of these guys. So the life expectancy is short for a baseball guy. It's short. You got to go now. Begin. Ready, go. So your guys are buying into this process that is being led by you, by Fig, of course, the trainers here, and all that kind of stuff to get up, get ready, get bigger, get stronger, and get ready to go win.
Correct.
You're either with us or you're gone. That could not be put better. And you heard Coach say that, and he gave Coach Jamie Shoup credit for that, which I have a podcast coming up very soon with Coach Jamie Shoup, who was at Florida State for over a decade, lots of College World Series appearances. He's an absolute phenomenal coach. He's got his own program now in Tallahassee at Florida A&M. But you're either in it with us or you're not. And here's the thing. You can't talk your way into it because coaches at good programs will not listen to what you say. They're going to watch what you do. Now, here's your takeaway. Don't mistake getting it in, okay, and committing it. Don't mistake those two. Getting it in and committing or committing to it are different things. Let me explain. If you listen carefully to that segment, Coach talked about guys coming early and staying late. We both talked about that. You have to understand in college, practice is the minimum. That's the minimum. That's the minimum standard. That's not where you improve. That is where you're being tested and you get to measure your ability. Am I progressing today or am I not progressing today? What do I need to work on? What have I got down pretty good? It's before practice and after practice when you're making your individual movement forward. So if you're not already used to coming into practice early and getting your shoulder stability, hip stability, and core stability in, start that now. Here are your takeaways. Start that process now so it's not foreign to you. Is it pleasant? No. It sucks. It makes my shoulders hurt. Okay? But get it in purposefully with commitment. Don't just do it to do it. And we see guys at all levels doing this. Where, remember I said don't make the mistake between the two of just getting in and committing to it. Don't just check the box. We'll see them on their TRX or they're doing their shoulder stabilization, and you can tell they're just trying to count. They're not making their shoulder rotate. They're not focusing. They're not purposefully and intentionally getting the shoulder stabilization, hip stability, whatever it is. They're not purposefully, intentionally working on it. They're just going, he said I need to do 30. That's checking the box. Good programs will sniff that out. And I guarantee you, if I dug a little deeper on when Coach talked about letting those two scholarship guys go, they were good players, and they were just going through the motions. They were just checking the box. And I bet he had a conversation with, you're not coming in, well, I am doing my work. Yeah, but are you? Are you doing it with purpose and intention, or are you just doing it to get it in? See, you're going to get recruited over every year in college. Just because you make it doesn't mean you make it. Now you got to make it again next year. Now you got to make it again next year. And now you have to separate yourself from the other players even on your team. Every year they're bringing in new guys. You don't have time to just go check the box. You need to work intentionally and purposefully before and after practice to improve every single year and fit into the culture. Use the link in the description to check out the full podcast I did with Coach Henry. And remember to leave your questions in the comment section so I can be sure to ask them on my second interview with him. One last thing. be sure to check out luposbaseball.com. That's my brand new website. On that website, you will be able to check out all the resources that we have to help you take your game to the next level. I write a blog. I've got a book out. There are free courses, including an IHP course, which is an individual hitting process that'll help you take your hitting to the next level. I put a link in the description below that'll take you to luposbaseball.com, where you can check out all of those awesome resources. And maybe one day you'll make one of our highlight reels. We'll see you on the field.
You cannot feel this energy.